I have a friend who's always speaking about how God gives them epiphanies, like these revelations or inspirations about their life, where they've been, where they're going, little things about their relationships, how God's at work in their life. Epiphany, epiphany, epiphany. Whenever I hear my friend, it just brings up this image of popcorn going off. But I do appreciate my friend who is seeking out God in their life, and that God gives them epiphanies or insights. It makes me think, how much do we seek out God to get those kind of insights, or are we paying attention to what God's doing in the world? And I do seek God too. I look for God in daily things and new discoveries. Living with my granddaughter, I see her learn new things every day, say new words. And it reminds me that we're all continually growing, but only if we could keep that joy of discovery and that energy that she has as a little child. And then I find myself on Epiphany drawn to contemplate the stars, literally space and astronomy. This week I learned about superclusters, the largest structures in the universe. We live in one galaxy, the Milky Way, that's got probably about 100 billion stars. But it's part of a supercluster, like this string, this chain of galaxies, and it makes like a web. And there's like over 100,000 galaxies in that. And we're not even the biggest supercluster out there. My mind pops with thinking how big things are. And also when I think about how vast is God's creation and how big God is. Then I consider the star of today's readings. Our magi in the Gospels study the stars. In ancient times, astronomical events were associated with significant events on Earth, perhaps the changing of history or course of human events, significant births, in this case, the birth of a king. Our magi were seekers, seeking truth, wisdom, God. And significant to this special feast of Epiphany, these seekers were not from Israel, but from many parts of the world, different races, religions, seeking that God is doing something new, something much bigger. Also in the gospel is Herod the Great, quite famous in history. He was good at playing power and politics, pitting the Jews against the Romans. He was a great builder of temples and fortresses, beautiful things, but he was treacherous, even to his own family. So when these outsiders came in speaking of a rival to his own kingship, he tried to use his cunning to bring an end to the competition. He does what humans have done throughout the ages. They fear what they do not know or understand, grasping for power and control, to live in their own little universe of which they are the center. He misses the epiphany of God. But while Herod's world got smaller and darker, God's kingdom is getting bigger and brighter. The Magi came to where the star was leading and found the manifestation of God in a little baby. This Feast of Epiphany is the manifestation of God come into the world. It's God's great mystery of love unfolding for all people, all races, all nations, not just the chosen ones. Something is now exploding, expanding. The kingdom of God has come to all. The Redeemer of the world is King of the universe. Our understanding continues to expand. In the opening of the Gospel of John, we hear the words, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it." This is Epiphany. And we will pray it again today in our creed. We say about Jesus, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made, consubstantial with the Father. For us and for our salvation, he came into the world. We need to be the seekers, seeking the God of the universe, the cosmic Christ, who manifests today as a vulnerable baby, God, who became man and grows into a man who shows us preference for the poor and the weak, who brings justice and is about the work of freeing, redeeming, healing, and creating. So coming back to my friend with her epiphanies and the galactic superclusters, our understanding of the world and our place is evolving. We are, like the Magi, seekers looking to the stars. We have been gifted a life to live in this great expanse, to discover the wonder and meaning of God's creation, and to encounter the living and loving God who knows each and every one of us. Today, let's celebrate God's love with wonder and with awe.